and you will say, oh, I've come to the end of the road. I can't do it anymore. But what happens a week after that? You're still in it. You haven't come to no end of the road. You're suffering from it, right? Whatever it is. So can we really truly run away from situations saying I've come at the end of the road?
She's very peaceful, loving, but sometimes her husband is very demanding. He's not from Brahma Kumari. So then, how does she deal with such a spouse?
You listen to me once, twice, thrice. Why I need to repeat? So where I'm going wrong, that's the only thing I want to know. Is that my love is not correct the way I'm giving them, the way I'm giving it's too much or too less?
Mhm.
So
And do they always have to listen to you? But you have love and you're giving it a different form. Force, you instead of being very sweet and gentle, you're doing it in a firm way. Om Shanti. Om Shanti. Om Shanti. Good evening, everyone. I'm sure everyone has heard this word Om Shanti before. Yes? Somewhere along the way you would have heard it, read it, right? Very, very beautiful word, Om Shanti. Of course, it has a very spiritual connotation, isn't it? Even when you hear it, you feel different. And how many of you know what it actually means? Om Shanti. Yes? Those who know the meaning of Om Shanti? Yeah? Can I see what it means for you? I am peace. Yes, I am peace. Om Shanti. Om actually is the split of the word aham and mama, right? Aham, mama in Sanskrit word is I am and this is my body. I am a soul and this is my body. And what kind of a soul am I? Peaceful soul, right? Right. It's a very simple meaning. I know books and books have been written on the word Om and Om Shanti. But for us here at the Brahma Kumaris, we have a very simple meaning, which means I am a peaceful soul. And it's always nice to start anything with that thought, Om Shanti, even when we are not peaceful, even when you are disturbed about something. Something has just happened before you came. You're not feeling good about it. You're disturbed or you're tense about something, anxious about something. It doesn't mean that you cannot say Om Shanti. On the contrary, more the reason for you to say Om Shanti. I am peace. You don't have to say it out aloud, but say it to your own self. I am Shanti, I am peace. Those are the moments when we actually need it, right? When we are not that, we need to remind ourselves. So first of all, I want to take this opportunity to congratulate, all of you actually, Dr. Shwetank and Kanishta Ben for sure, but all of you also here in Raleigh area to be one of the first people to attend, such a beautiful program arranged by the Brahma Kumaris. And more importantly, congratulations for having a place like this, which is so, let's give them a big hand, which is so important and necessary these days, I think, to have just a little space. I mean, this is a big space, but even if you had a little space, I feel it's so important and necessary to walk into a space where you can really feel your inner peace, isn't it? Many times we walk into, beautiful places, even temples, and even within a matter of few seconds, you feel so different, isn't it? So, once again, a warm welcome. And I think this evening, our topic or our subject is to find inner power, not only peace, but also power. And I'm going to start with maybe my own experience. Sister Kanishta was telling me that or telling us that when she is in my company, she feels peace. And perhaps my parents would have told you when I was little girl also that this little child is so peaceful, so quiet, so like you sit here in one place and you move away and come back after a couple of hours, and she's still there quietly. So sometimes it's just the nature of someone to be quiet or to be peaceful or to be whatever. But I'll tell you that yes, that may have been true. But I'm particularly now relating to peace not just as a passive quality, but as a power, right? Do you think peace can be a power also? You think so, right? So that happened to me after I started to study with the Brahma Kumaris and started to do my meditation and really got to know myself. Now, what was different about that? Because nature is nature. I would have been peaceful anyway. But many times I would find that even though externally I am peaceful, right? I'm not creating any kind of disturbance or havoc or trying to pick a fight with anyone or anything like that. But internally, what's happening in my mind is that I'm not agreeing with the other person, right? And externally, I don't want to say it out aloud. I don't want to contradict anybody. I don't want to, create a scene anywhere. So I would just say quiet. Okay, that is peace. There might have been peace outside, but there wasn't peace inside. And for me, that did not hold power. But when you begin to understand that, even that external quality of wanting to be quiet or peaceful comes from an inner nature of being at peace with oneself to begin with. But can we match the two? Can we kind of connect the two? Can we connect the outer peace with the inner peace? Yes? You think so? And yes, definitely we can. And that can only happen when you find out that there is something inside of you that is basically and naturally peaceful to begin with. It's not that you have to make peace outside or you have to be at peace out, when you're with other people. But when you are with your own self, you need to be at peace, right? You need to find that inner quality or nature of peace. And I think this is what we are here to talk about, that when we find what is inside of us truly and surely and all the time, that's when we get power. That's when we really feel the power of any quality for that matter. It could be peace, it could be love, it could be any other quality. But we would then feel that that is the power that is lacking, and that's the power that I need to find. Now, we also said today finding inner power, right? Not just power, but inner power. So, is there a difference between inner power and just power as we see normally in today's world? How is power usually perceived as? When you say, oh, this person is very powerful, what are you referring to? Hmm? Many things come to mind, right? What comes to mind is maybe the way the person speaks, maybe the way the person acts, right? Maybe the way the person holds a position, for example. Maybe it has to do with his status, money wise, finance wise, education wise, whatever. Oh, this one is very powerful, this one's very powerful. So we usually think of power, and sometimes it's even physical power, right? Oh, this person is able to convince, he has a loud voice, he can, he's very powerful. Now, is that power truly? That's different kind of power. Definitely it is power. And the world has been running on that power for a long time, right? We are talking about a power that is visible, that is audible, that is, palpable in a physical way somehow. But there are other times when you look at a person, you know, and you would think nothing of that person, that he doesn't have any kind of position or authority or, any kind of power in that sense of the word. And yet, when that person speaks, or when a person has said something and feels a particular way, you would say, yes, really, that makes sense. It made a lot of sense. And sometimes it's people who speak very few words, for example, that make an impact. It's not people who speak many words or many sentences, but they speak few words, but they speak calculated words, counted words. They're very measured and they are very qualitative. So what is it that's making them powerful? It's not just words, but it's something within those words. And even before speaking the words, it is something within their state of mind or stage, what we call as, it's almost like a stage that they are speaking from, right? If your stage is high and everybody is able to see you on that high stage, then of course that person is more impactful, but it has nothing to do with the actual person. It has to do with the height of the stage. So it's a little bit like this, that if you are internally in a very high state of mind inside, and you're saying something, and that makes sense to people, and that has power, then we should know what that state of mind is all about. How did that person get to that state? Whereas somebody else saying the same things, saying, similar kind of concept, trying to convey the concept, might have said it one time, two times, three times, but it hasn't made an impact. So that's the kind of power that we want to examine, that inner power or that internal power. Is it that only few people have it and others don't? Is it that only few are entitled to have it and others don't? No. We are all entitled to not just have inner power, but we are entitled to use that inner power. Now, the thing is that when we don't use something for a long time, then we lose it. But we all have been gifted with that kind of inner power. And we have been running on that power, right? But there comes a time when power runs out. Yes? What runs out actually? When the phone stops working, what runs out? It's the battery that runs out. The phone is still in place. All its apps and everything are still in place. But what has run out is the battery, the charge. So what do you do first when you find that your phone isn't working or it's just run out of charge? You immediately try to find your little cord, your connection, your outlet, and you plug it in. Now, do you think this thing that we call as the human body, which is made out of 5 elements, which is very, beautifully made and come together and put together very nicely. Now, do you think that it can just run on its own? Like, it has beautiful elements, right? Beautiful apps, hearing app, seeing app, talking app. We have so many apps here. And they can all work very well. But there has to be something to power it. There has to be something to charge it. Yes? Or is it okay? I just get my messages from the brain and then it's okay. Whatever messages I get, I get to speak it, I get to hear it. Or is it just that I get, my life energy from the heart is pumping? Is that enough of a charge to keep us going? You think so? The brain and the heart and all the important organs of the body, which are very necessary, very important, crucial to our life here. But is it enough of charge to keep life moving ahead? No. No. There must be something else that doesn't work when life stops, right? Now, we don't have to wait until the end of life to find out what that charge is. Right? We need to find out if we can enhance the way that that battery or that charge can keep fueling us, keep, giving us the right kind of energy. And that's the inner power that we here specialize in. The spiritual power, we call it, the one that is not physical, but it's also the one that injects or makes the physical power even useful. We call it battery, you call it life energy, you call it soul, you call it spirit, you call it any of those things, but it is such an incognito, tiny little part of this whole mechanism that we tend to forget it, that if we take it for granted, and we think that all that matters is the body as with all its different organs and with the brain and the heart and all the connections made at the right time. Yes, they are all very, very important. They have their own important functions. But the life energy actually comes from this soul that we are. And that's why when she put the little dot on my thing, and many of you would also be very used to putting that dot, especially for those of us from India, right? Why do we use that dot? It's because that's where the battery sits, right? That's where that life energy, the soul, the spirit, the Atma sits in the body, right in between here. And its power, it is peace, it is love, it is all those beautiful qualities that make life worth living. Yeah. So when that is not tended to, when it is not attended to, when it is not cared for, when it is not nurtured, when it's not charged, all kinds of accidents happen, things stop functioning the way that it's supposed to function. And this is why, oftentimes, you will come and say, but you know what, I shouldn't have done that, but I did that. Or sometimes you'll say, but I wanted to do it so badly, but I didn't have the courage to do it. Yes. So many things that we even intend to do, or, but we cannot end up doing it. So many things that we wish we had not done, and we end up doing it. Yes. So we're not always able to make up our mind what is good, what is right. We're not always able to carry through with some of the decisions. Sometimes it's about, facing challenges, facing situations, facing different scenarios. And you will say, oh, I've come to the end of the road. I can't do it anymore. But what happens a week after that? You're still in it. You haven't come to no end of the road. You're suffering from it, right? Whatever it is. So, can we really truly run away from situations saying, I'm calm at the end of the road? No. It's just that we have lost the charge, the power to be able to face that situation. So, why not charge ourselves and then face the situation? Because there are many, many things that you will not be able to turn your face away from and say, I can't, I have to, quit, or I have to. So it's about all those very humanly possible things that we feel we cannot do. We feel they're impossible, or we feel they're very difficult, we feel they're very challenging. And there are several of them, those powers that we list. You can say one, two, three, you can really go on and on. But basically, what it is saying is that inner power, that charge, the battery is running out. I'm not keeping it charged. I'm not keeping it alive. I'm not keeping it connected to the source. Yes? Now, the first thing, how do you do all of that? How do you find that right method? It should be simple. I mean, now that we know how to connect the phone and get it charged, we should know simply, how do we do this charging? How do we charge this? Any ideas? How do we get our inner battery charged? The first and foremost, of course, is that we have to know what is that battery all about, right? Just like you have to make the right connection to the right, sources, right points. So you need to have that connection first to your own self as that battery, the soul, in other words, the soul that is driving this body, the soul that is not this gross physical energy that you can see and touch and feel in a physical way, but it's still there. What is it able to do? What does this battery do while in the body? It's actually does everything that we do. Everything that we do actually starts from here. And everything starts mostly, you will find, from where? From your thoughts, right? You wanted to come here. What happened? Did you just end up here by accident? Did you end up here by, no conscious thought of your own? Or you must have gotten a flyer, you must have gotten a call, you must have had a thought, oh yes, okay, I think this is a good program, I want to go there, right? So the first thing that would have happened for you in order to get to this place is, yes, I would like to go there. And then, of course, there would be other thoughts. Oh, but I have this, or I have that. Mm-hmm. But somehow or the other, you made space, you made time, you cleared your calendar, and you said you want to be here. Who did that? It's again the same thought process, isn't it? Maybe something else came up, something else came up, something else came up, and you said you weighed this against this, you weighed that against that, and you say which is more important for me. Or sometimes you would have, if you end up not doing that, you would say, well, oh, but it's so far away. You'll say, okay, I'm not going to go there now. Who decides yes or no or whatever? It's your own little battery. Not even your little battery, but you, that battery sitting here, is the one that is making all of these thought process happen inside. And then you're just saying one against the other, and you're saying yes or no to that. So how important it is to keep this process clear. So this is the battery that we're talking about. If sometimes I feel too confused, I really don't know what to do. I don't know whether to go here or to go there. What does that mean? That battery has run down. It's time to charge it, right? I'm not getting clarity. I'm confused. Mm. This is important and that is also important. And there are situations like that in today's world. It's not that it doesn't happen, it happens all the time. Two important events come up and you don't know where to go. But still, you have to decide something, right? So, what you would do, is at least remove any kind of extra thoughts, negative thoughts, waste thoughts, and just deal with the positive aspect of the two things. Because anything that is negative kind of confuses it even more, makes it even more difficult. So, what I'm saying is that this is the soul that is doing all that process. So, in this whole idea of charging yourself, the first thing is that I must center myself and remember that I am such a soul. I can think on my own, I can judge on my own, I can decide on my own, I can analyze on my own, I can come to the right decision on my own. I need to focus on that. Right? So, first of all, I am, and we think of this as a living energy, like a light. Like we put a dot here, it's like a point energy, dot energy, Atma. And it's all my thoughts arise from this point. And I can, when I say, let me center myself, I think we use that word quite a lot, isn't it? Let me center myself, whatever we're saying. We're minusing all the extra negative waste thoughts and coming to the awareness that I am this wonderful little thinking being that can think just the right thoughts or the necessary thoughts at the right time. I remind myself that I have that ability already. I already have that power. As a soul, I'm already being gifted with that power. I don't have to go anywhere to get it, but I have to remember that I am that. Yeah. So I have the ability to think. I have the ability to even think about what I think, whether it's right or wrong. Many times I'm thinking, but I'm also thinking, both ways. But I also have the ability to think about the quality of what I'm thinking. Should I be thinking like that? Should I not be thinking like that? It is useful to me. Where is it going to, take me? So I have that too. And most importantly, what I am is I am like a little, what do I call it? Battery is one thing, but I'm also a little source. I'm not the ultimate source, but I'm also a little source of all the positive energy that I'm looking for in life. Sister Kanishta talked about peace, for example. And peace is not something that is generated from outside. Peace is something that is generated from inside of us. Like we said, Om Shanti, I am peace. The same thing with love. Love is not something that comes from outside. Love is something that starts from inside. Even to feel the love coming from outside, I need to be in that state of being loving to receive love, right? So it starts from inside. If I don't identify with that inner quality, I will not be able to experience it coming from outside also. Right? Same thing with happiness. Where does it originate? What's the source of that? It's also from inside, right? So these are all the qualities that I am. So how do I start charging myself is by reminding myself I am a being of peace. I am a being of love. I am a being of wisdom, knowledge. I am a being of happiness. These are all the qualities that I have brought to this world, right? It's not that I have to generate it from outside, but I myself am the source of that. That's the first thing. Now, why did we lose it? Why did we forget it? Because our attention has been all the time turned to the outside. What's happening out there? What's happening out there? Mm, how beautiful is this one? How wealthy is that one? How much is this person doing the right thing? And instead of looking inside, I've been looking outside. Lot of attention. Of course, life means that you have to be with people, you have to do work, you have to take care of responsibilities. It's not that you can avoid all that, no. But the balance has been totally tilted. Right? So I should be able to do things outside because I have a lot of positive energy inside. It should start from inside and go outside. But instead, what is happening is, how do I get up in the morning and think? First thought that I have to do this, I have to do this, I have to do this. I start keeping list, right? Right. Yeah, and what does it make me do? I feel nervous, I feel tensed, I feel rushed, as if I don't have time for myself. Instead, what do I do? Instead, I say, I am a being of peace and power and love and knowledge and all the qualities that it is going to take from me to do all these things, right? Because what's happening is the needs in living this life are increasing, right? The demands are increasing, but the supply is becoming less and less, like everything else in the world, right? What I can offer to my work or to my relationship, I'm having less and less patience, I'm having less and less tolerance, I'm having less and less feelings for each other, right? Even connection with each other. But on the contrary, they are demanding more of me, whether at work, whether at home, whether wherever. So there is this whole upside down thing. So what do I have to do now? Instead of thinking of what I need to do first, I need to think about what am I first? What are my qualities? What is my strength? What is my power? My strength is that I can think right. My strength is that I can think right from wrong. I can make my own decisions. My strength is that I can emerge that quality of love or peace or happiness whenever I want. These are all my inner strengths. You can call them powers, you can call them strengths, you can call them qualities. But then after that, then you think of, yes, today I have to do this, I have to meet this one, I have this meeting, all of that. It comes later. It's not that we don't do that, but the first thing is, who am I, what am I, and what do I have to offer to today's, whoever I have to meet. Now, secondly, the second part of our connecting, this is a good start when I start connecting with my own self. But as I said, the reason we forgot is that we are so much drawn to outside, we are connecting to outside. But thank God for God. That is also a constant source that is available for us, right? So here you have plugged into, the phone itself, but you have to plug it into the outlet too, right? To the source of electricity. So where do I get that strength from? That strength comes from the other soul who is beyond all of these physical ups and downs. And we call that as the energy of God. So I, as a soul, connect with God also as a soul, as a being of conscient energy, point of light. But what is flowing between the two of us is this spiritual power and spiritual qualities. So even if sometimes I feel low, I can't find the peace inside, I can't find that love inside. But as soon as I connect with someone who is just love, just peace, just pure, then I can start feeling those vibrations from God. Yeah, makes sense? So it's a very, very simple connection to empower ourselves or remind ourselves of that power. So important in today's world, don't you think? We can't miss one day without phone charge, but we can't miss even one moment without this other charge, the soul charge. Why? Because it is the soul that has to face every little situation that comes your way. And this is why we feel that finding that inner power, if you can just get the knack of it, simple technique, sometimes it's just a simple little technique that you have to get. And then you repeat it over and over again, and that's like a lifesaver, right? So here also it is like that we find ourselves inside here somewhere, and then we, as a soul, as this simple little pure energy, we connect with the source energy. And the connecting wire, what is the connecting wire? The connecting wire is just very, very loving thoughts. Thoughts of love, thoughts of faith, right? Thoughts that are positive. That's what connects us to the energy of God. So we have all of it right inside of us. If I say, for example, if I remember, even if I'm connecting with God, but if I'm connecting with God out of fear, for example, that's not going to charge us. Yes, of course, it can, save you from doing something wrong, but it's not going to empower you, right? Because it's a negative thought. Fear is a negative emotion. It's a negative thought. Or if you're even remembering God out of guilt, for example, who did that? Even that, it doesn't draw pure power from God. But what draws pure power from God is the fact that there is this link of love, the relationship of love that I as a soul have with God. But we have this preconceived idea in our mind that maybe God doesn't love me. Not true. So we have to again remind ourselves that I am a loving being and God also loves me. So let me draw that love, draw that peace, draw that power from Him. Yeah? So inner power is also something that we need to work on day to day, moment to moment. Not put it off for once a week, not put it off for once a year, not put it off for all those, like it's very, very important in today's world. Because the more we try to use the other kind of power, the more we are creating problems for ourselves. Right? You think that, oh, I can do, I have more power of my own position and I can treat anybody any way I want. It doesn't work that way, right? Maybe they'll do your work, but you've also created some enemies along the way, right? Not good for me in the long run. That's going to work against me. somewhere in the future. So many problems that we have created and we are seeing around today that we're facing is because we haven't been using positive energy, positive feelings in our interactions and in our actions, right? We've been doing it on an automatic, mode. I have to do it, I'll get it done. It doesn't matter if I do it in a good mood, bad mood, whatever. But why not do things in a good mood? Why not do it for the good reason, right? So there is a lot of power in goodness. Goodness here means the original qualities of the soul: peaceful, being loving, being understanding, being patient. There is a lot of power in those qualities. They will work in our favor in the long run. And we use these powers, we actually call them as soft powers. Very nice way to distinguish between the hardcore, authoritative power of position and force and anger and, arrogance. No, it's the opposite of that. With a lot of love, with a lot of sweetness, with a lot of gentleness, you can convince someone, for example. Yes? Have you tried it with your children sometimes? Sometimes they listen better to sweet words than authoritative words, right? They give in to your love. You can try to force them to do something, or you can try to scare them to do something, but better way is through loving words. So this is the kind of power that we need to now research more and more, find more and more, and use also more and more in our life. Yes? So we are going to do some meditation also, follow. But I think we also wanted to take some questions also, just in very broad, the principle. I think you get the principle behind inner power, right? It's something that we have lost sight of, lost awareness of, or lost even the sense of, but we still need to go back to that original way. So I'm going to stop and see if there is any questions before I'm going to also see if we can do some meditation around it.
Would you like?
So I'm just thinking if they want to have any questions or something like that. First, you think? Hmm? Go ahead.
I just had one question, and of course there are so many words being used, and you mentioned quite a bit about God as being source, and people use a lot of energy, and I was just wondering, how does Brahman fit into all this, or is it one and the same?
How does Brahman fit into all that? Brahman, we look upon Brahman or Brahm element as an element, actually, in which there is a lot of silence, and in that environment of Brahman or silence, we are able to experience the actual personality of God. Because we try to kind of imagine God based on what we see around, in the 5 elements of nature, right? But actually he's beyond all of that. So we need to actually experience him in an element that is empty, that is quiet, that is silent, that is pure. So for us, Brahm is that element where we can feel Him. Mm.
Om Shanti, sister. For me, it's been almost 2 years. I'm in Brahma Kumaris, but I do get challenged to deal with my children. And like you said, to do with loving way, I do get with loving way, but it doesn't work 100%. I don't know why. And what happens, I end up actually being too emotional, and I just say, I better be hard to them rather than being loving. I think so. It's being too sweet, and it's like, getting a sugar. So then I say, I'm gonna come and be gonna be hard to you. Then they says, Om Shanti, Mama. Then I said, it's good. It's wonderful to say Om Shanti, but my point is that to listen to me once, twice, thrice. Why I need to repeat? So where I'm going wrong, that's the only thing I want to know. Is that my love is not correct the way I'm giving them, the way I'm giving it's too much or too less.
Mhm.
So
And do they always have to listen to you?
no, that also have in my mind. But something are there that I keep repeatingly when, especially like eating on time or calling them for dinner. So that very lovingly you'll call them, but when you tell I'm gonna off all the internets, all your connection, they'll run down.
So that is also love, no?
Yeah, but with the loving way, I
There
believe
is a
it.
tough love.
Yes.
They say tough love. Sometimes you just change the form of love. It's not that you don't have love, but you have love and you're giving it a different form. Force, you instead of being very sweet and gentle, you're doing it in a firm way because you know that's eventually going to be good for you. You're not using the wrong method. Of course, if you really get angry, upset, beat them up, whatever, that I would say is not the right mixture. Don't go that far that negative emotions come into the picture and you get upset and hit them and or even hold anger against them. Anger is not a good emotion, but you know pretty much your own inner self. You know where you are, where is your temperature. If it is loving, but again it is assertive, it is forceful, it is you're just being strict. That's still love. It's just a different form of love.
Om Shanti. The soul is the energy. Then why do you want to charge the energy? It's already energy. You don't need to charge anything energy. Energy is never die, never it goes from one form to another.
It's true. You're so right. But we must remember that it is energy.
Yeah, but you don't need to charge it. You don't have to connect with anybody to charge it.
Yes, if we always remember that we are energy, we can retain that energy. If we ourselves get drawn in the awareness that I am something else other than this energy, that energy is not going to be useful. It's going to be, discharged soon. So, what has happened is our awareness of who we are as a body, as a physical, that has taken that spiritual energy away from our possession. It's not that it has disappeared anywhere, that we have just forgotten it, and therefore it's almost like it's lost. In order to gain it back, the connection is really the connection of remembering. So it's not like you're actually plugging something to something, but remembrance is our connection. Right? The more we remember who I am, the more I remember, where is my source. You know, that is the connection. So you're right that you don't really lose energy, but you forget it. And what we are talking about, the kind of connection, is really remembering. If we don't remember who we are, we'll never act as if we have that energy. And that's what happens. We act as if we are weak. We act as if we have lost it. We act as if we don't have it. So now we have to remember again that no, I have this peaceful energy inside of me. I can use this loving energy inside of me. I don't have to get angry, in other words, right? So,
This question is from one of my classmates. She is also from Brahma Kumari. She asked this question. I'm gonna ask on her behalf. She said she's very peaceful, loving, but sometimes her husband is very demanding. He's not from Brahma Kumari. So then, how does she deal with such a spouse who, even though she's trying to exhibit all the peaceful attributes, the other person is not? How does she deal with that situation?
yeah. Sometimes we have set certain expectations in other people, right, over a period of time. And so that expectation continues from the other person. So what happens is it takes us a little time to readjust the balance. That before I would think that yes, it's okay for you to demand that from me, but now that I know that it's not going in the right direction, that kind of a demanding nature or a giving in nature is not going to create healthy relationship. You have to kind of reset that balance. And the way you reset that balance is to establish yourself in that awareness of who I am and what is my value and how do I want myself to be treated, right? And so once you do that, you can, in a very nice way, convey that message to other people too. Yes, it was, of course, it's not going to happen overnight, but in a very nice and gentle and loving way also. I don't think this is right and I don't think that is wrong. So you can kind of gently try to move that balance in the right direction, you know. But most important is to set your own stage of self respect. What do you want for yourself? You have to be clear with that, which is what we call self awareness, or, becoming aware of that little battery that is demanding respect for my own self, you know. So, yeah, tough one. I know it's not an overnight solution to that, but it takes time to readjust relationships based on spiritual facts.
Om Shanti, sister.
Shanti.
You mentioned remembrance, and that was what clicked in my brain a few moments ago. It is the remembrance of seeing you in Peace Village and Global Harmony House many times, quite a few years ago. So it's good to see you here in North Carolina, bringing the power of Baba and understanding, that he's in every corner of everything that we do. And I want to thank you for being here and making this effort for us souls that really need this power here in North Carolina. So I want to thank you.
Lovely to see you too.
Yes, Om
brother.
Shanti. Yes, thank you.
Okay.
I think I'm loud enough for everybody.
Okay.
How do you
When
deal
you're recording
with
it,
the families of...
recording it,
Oh, sorry.
is that okay?
How do you deal with the death of a loving family member?
Who is this family member that to you really? What happens in death is, we all know that, right? What happens in death? The body has dissipated, the body is melted away, but the soul lives on. We know that. This is the essence of spirituality, that life is forever, soul is forever, the form changes, the body changes, and so you start to not so much think about, the body that's gone. Of course, it's not that you can forget overnight and you can overcome emotions overnight. But try to remember and remind yourself of the beautiful moments you had, the exchanges you had, based on sharing qualities of the soul, virtues of the soul, the special things that that relationship meant for you, right? And still you can share the same kind of love with the soul. That doesn't have to stop. Okay? Still sending loveful vibrations. And over a period of time, even the sorrow, it's not sorrow anymore. It's more the appreciation that you were able to spend that much time with that soul.
Om Shanti. My problem is like when something is not go the way I think. Like usually I never expect from anyone until unless they start showing that, and then once they show, then I just rely, and I start having the expectation. Whatever the reason, the things not go the way I think. Initially I never thought that it should be, but once they showing me hope, so I start visualizing, okay, this way is supposed to be happen, this way is supposed to be happen. And if it is not happen, then I just uh, anger, and I know that I it's very violent level kind of anger I have. And then I feel guilty. Within the 2 minutes I say, oh my gosh, I'm not supposed to behave like that. Why I behave this way? And I just so guilty that I stay away from everyone then. So I don't know how to deal with that.
Yeah. It's a great thing that you are able to pinpoint your finger on what's happening to you inside. So just a little bit more guidance and direction perhaps from the teachers here, and you'll be able to go beyond these negative things and touch the positive things that are there inside of you. Hmm? So very good that you are self-reflective. You have a good sense of reflecting for yourself, but now you have to learn to reflect in a positive way.
Om Santi, I have a question. When I look in the ocean, which is core into the not the shore, inside the ocean, it is very calm. I see in the pictures it is very calm, no waves and very peaceful. On the shore, it is ripples going, and same thing when I see this space, which is when the satellites are going, it says no sound, so very peaceful. So when I compare ocean's core energy to the space energy, both are matching to
Right.
each other. They are always peace, always no sounds. How? So that means everything is, we are in the peace, but we are also creating the materialistic world is creating the disturbance, the ripples. Is it the way slowly everything will merge into the inner space? Because this, we are inside this space, we are already inside the inner space or inner peace. Is it slowly this disturbance will merge into the peace in one day, in some day?
It's a great comparison. It's very nice that you're talking about the space, which is physical space, and also the ocean is physical, right? They're both physical elements. So just like that, they are also one of the important qualifications or qualities of them is quiet and calm and silence. So in the same way too, there is another space called the spiritual space. Spiritual space is different from physical space. Physical space is made out of the 5 elements. Spiritual space is the 6th element, which the brother was calling as the Brahm element, the element of just pure light. So there also there is silence. So we also, as human souls, we come from that place of silence. And so that quality of silence is very much, integrated or, integral part of every human being. That is why we always say, each and every human being looks for that peace. This is why we are searching for peace, because we have come from that place of peace. And definitely at the end of our journey, we will also find that peace. But these are all the in between scenes, in between, that we have to find our way to that peace again.
Om Shanti. I just have a question like God's energy, the super soul, that also can we name it as universal energy?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Universally available energy. It's not universal meaning available, everywhere, but it's a universally available energy. It's a specific energy. It's a concentrated energy, but universal and available to everyone in the world.
But if someone,
We need to form that relationship or connection. When we remember God, then we are able to draw that energy.
yeah, but if someone say that no, I'm like we don't believe in God, then how we convince? How that person can be convinced?
We don't have to convince anyone. They,
No.
they will find their own journey, and somehow or the other it will take them back to that. We can try little. We don't ever try to convince anyone, but we can share what we know to be the truth for ourselves about God or about anything else for that matter. You share that from your experience.
Yeah.
And
So,
then
but maybe not we have to convince. My question really was how that person can be convinced by himself or herself, about the truth.
everyone is different, no? I mean, everyone is stuck in a different way. So there's no universal answer that, how this one will accept, that one will accept. We all have our individual journey. And what we know to be true, though, is that the knowledge of Raj Yoga that we teach here, it kind of, it opens doors for many people with many different questions. So that much I know, that it is very universal in that way. No matter what the question is, no matter where they're stuck in, but there are answers. But there's no one answer to everybody.
Thank you.
Okay.
I think, all right.
Om Shanti. Thank you very much, Sister Kalabainji. Today, we are very fortunate to have the first lesson of spirituality, that is about soul and the qualities of a soul. And the world around us has become tamopradhan nowadays. Everybody has become self-oriented. So our battery is getting discharged. Our self, our soul is getting discharged. We are forgetting that I am a soul. Everybody is coming into the body consciousness. So your explanation that a first lesson that I am a soul, and I have to get my soul charged from from God, that is the external source. We have to fill up ourselves with a battery from external source, not from any other outside relatives or friends or something else. So thank you very much for explaining this prime and important lesson, first lesson of the spirituality. And we are very much delighted to be with you this evening. Thank you very much.
Thank you. We'll do a little meditation now, right? So sit comfortably and relaxed.
Is it okay if we dim the lights? And
Yes, please.
yes. We will play some gentle music in the background. Once.